There was no electrical power in India at that time. Sometimes in life you have very good well-wishers.
So there was a difference of opinion between your grandfather and your father.
It was not that. My grandfather believed that making a boiler was difficult.
She was the one who took over the initiative.
You see, there is always some leadership that you have in a family.
Right.
At that time when ladies were not in business, and I'm very happy that even my daughter-in-laws are very much involved in business.
You guys started
Yes,
that? Okay.
Yes, it's a fact. It was ideal boiler only that used to be able to burn the pit.
Today, I have the privilege of being with our most revered Mr. Rohinton Engineer. He is the MD and chairperson of Industrial Boilers Limited. They're one of the largest exporters of boilers from India. And the conversation that we are going to have today is going to be beyond the boilers and the businessmen, as everyone knows Mr. Engineer to be. And this is going to be more heart to heart. I'm looking forward to a great session with you. Welcome, sir.
Thank you for having me here.
So let's begin from the beginning. So if you could tell us a little about how IBL started. If you could just take us, handhold us into that time and, walk us through the 1860s when the beginnings happened. What you remember from your childhood and how that, shaped up the IBL that is today.
It's a very interesting and old discussions that has been passed on through generations, specifically from my grandfather and my granduncle. So my grandfather used to say that my great-grandfather migrated from Surat to Hubli, and he was in charge of the engineering of a ginning factory. And in the ginning factory, he worked there. He stayed in the factory itself, looking after the full factory, and then the owner passed on the complete management of the factory on to him. And in earlier years, there were steam engines which used to drive the complete ginning factory. There was no electrical power in India at that time. And the engines were not generating power, they were generating motive power and running the crankshaft, and through the crankshaft, the whole systems used to work. And incidentally, some of these crankshafts used to break for some reason or the other. And when they used to break, there was no way they could be repaired unless a crankshaft again was, there was no flying at that time, it was sailed from England.
Okay.
So first you placed an order and then you got it. It would be 6 months to a year or 2 years, 3 years down the line. So he said, then he found out that these ginning factories would be closed for a number of period of time, and then some of them would never restart.
Right.
And he devised a method of repairing a crankshaft. So in those days, there was no welding. So what he would do, he would forge the two halves into flat ends. And then, because there would be loss of material, whenever you forge anything, you lose a lot of material, and also you require extra material for ultimately creating a finish, round finish.
Okay.
So he would forge it, and then he would punch in a hole, not drill in a hole. He used to punch in a hole and rivet it.
Okay.
So by that he would create extra metal, and that metal then further he would machine it out on a lathe. And that's how he introduced this technology, and he fixed the problem, and he did it for a number of ginning factories in Gadak and Hubli and all those areas. So that was a wonderful start of his journey when he did it. Again, there was no much of repairing and all that, so he used to repair the boilers and things like that. And that time there were European boiler inspectors in India, and they encouraged him to take up more repairing jobs of the boiler, because he used to do a very professional, neat, clean and good job. So once those jobs were done, the boilers again used to give a good life, and the safety was not compromised at that time also. And that's how he ventured into boiler repairing, specifically in the Lancashire boilers. And that kept on going on. And then slowly, I think welding did come across the world. And I think my grandfather and my granduncle used to say that the welding electrode diameter was something like 15 mm. Only one size was available, and it used to create hell lot of smoke.
Right.
But the interesting part was that one of the European boiler inspector, when he returned back to England, gifted him a welding engine, petrol engine with a generator, a welding generator from Europe, from England, and sent him by ship to him as a gift because he was so impressed with him.
Wow.
And that's how the welding was introduced in our family. I would say that our family was one of the first people in India
that's the thing that came to my mind as well.
Welding at that time. He had 5 sons, and he named his company Engineer and Sons. And they were all remarkable engineers, remarkable craftsmen, and very hardworking team. And they worked together, they grew together, then they married and had children, and then their children was one of my father. And then, of course, ultimately, my father decided that why not I set up industrial boilers, because when my grandfather shifted to Bombay, the first few boilers that were made in Nestle boilers were basically manufactured by my grandfather. And it so happened that I can talk about Nestle because it does not exist anymore.
Yeah, Nestle, I think, was the first
boiler manufacturer
in India.
And I can proudly say that those boilers were made by my grandfather and my father together, and in their factory at Baikala, Love Lane. And very interesting thing was that when the first drawings were passed, so there were no handholds, no manuals. So that was informed by my grandfather to the boiler department that these things are also necessary.
Right.
And they were incorporated in the drawing, then how they were to be made. So we were very lucky. Our first few boilers were made in Bombay. And in the 80s, the paper mills used to use bagasse for paper making.
Right.
And at that time, they used to have a deep heater.
Right.
So and they used to remove the pith.
Yeah.
Now at that time, paper mills had mountains of pith.
Correct. And that was a huge problem back then because you would have to think what to do with pith.
And then we developed a boiler called the BMF series. And we started burning them in the boiler.
Okay. You guys started that.
Yes, it's a fact. And you ask any paper mill owner, he will tell you.
Oh, okay.
Because IBL boiler only that used to be able to burn the pith. And we were flooded with orders. And I think within 6 months to a year, there was no mountain remaining in the paper mill.
Right. That was
an innovation. You know, sometimes in life you have very good well-wishers. So one of the good well-wishers was Mr. Padamji.
Okay.
He had a paper mill in near the Nair Hospital, Bombay Central. That was witnessed by me because I was a small kid at that time.
Okay.
And he gifted his land that, okay, you make your boiler here.
Wow. Okay.
And not a single rupee was taken by him for as a rent or anything. And he gave us power also and a good land. So that's how we started making boilers there. And then suddenly there was a fire in his factory. That was very unfortunate. That was a paper mill, Padamji paper mill in Bombay. A sister concern of Padamji paper mill, Pune. And then we shifted. We already had our land and we had all the establishment in Bombay. But you required a spark. So that was a spark, and that's how we shifted to Vapi. So Vapi happened in 1974.
1974. So there was a difference of opinion between your grandfather and your father with respect to the direction in which the company should be taken. Is that
no? It was not that. My grandfather believed that making a boiler was difficult.
Right. Right.
But when my father put it to use, he was always supportive. Most important contribution that came about in Vapi was through my mother. Vapi was a very undeveloped town with electricity being there and not being there.
Okay.
And she, against all odds, stayed back in Vapi. Then the later contributions of our mother are just something which is extraordinary, because she was a lady staying alone in Vapi, and against all odds, with very little infrastructure of the factory available at that time. And she built up the factory from scratch.
Okay. So she was the one who took over the initiative of building the factory, and
It was a family. I mean, we all they were all contributors to it.
Yes.
But you see, there is always some leadership that you have in a family.
Right.
So, and each person plays a different role, and no two roles are the same.
Exactly.
But the important thing is that what becomes a predominant role
Right.
has to be acknowledged.
Exactly.
She ran the factory by herself, and she was an iron lady. So that's one of the greatest contributions as a lady. At that time, when ladies were not in business and were not being promoted in business, she took up the leadership. She stayed and she ran it very well. And I'm very happy that even my daughter-in-laws are very much involved in business. So that was all fed in by my mother, my wife. My brother Cyrus's wife is also very much involved in business. They come to office every day, handle major parts of important parts of the business. Same thing is being handled by my children, my granddaughter, my daughter-in-laws. So we are very proud of that. We believe that ladies should be given equal chance to work.
Right.
And that's been family tradition. So
Right.
I mean, we don't feel it that karna hai, nahi karna hai.
It's effortless for you. You don't even give it a thought.
Thank you so much, sir. Thank you for coming.
Pleasure talking to you.
Pleasure was all mine. It was an honor talking to you.